Part 78. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 771. Chapter 771, The Place of Inheritance. In addition, Hai Long's crown also has an extremely heaven-defying skill, one thought to create all things. This skill can use pure mental power to forcefully control all things. Generally speaking, if you want to control other items with mental power, you must add illusions and other means. Only then can the opponent be successfully controlled. However, Hai Long's crown active skill is extremely domineering. Directly use the purest and most powerful mental power to control the opponent down. Coupled with the blessing of the artifact itself, it would be even more powerful, Yes, after creating this kind of artifact, I can compare with the gods in terms of spiritual power. Lu Shu smiled. His spiritual power was originally much stronger than other divine tree masters. With the blessing of the divine weapon, it would not be inferior to the top spiritual tree masters at all. It is conceivable that Lu Shu has now not simply reached the level of a god in one aspect, but in many aspects, he has been constantly approaching the level of the divine realm and the upper world. Thank you, Luo Shui. If it hadn't been for this girl who held this disciple recruitment conference, then I wouldn't have been able to collect such a massive amount of resources so easily, or even create 2 artifacts. Tisk tisk, this messenger from the god realm came to the gray realm and brought me a lot of benefits. Lu Shu couldn't help but laugh. But, I wonder how Luo Shui would be grateful when he saw that he had achieved such a rich harvest. Now, Luo Shui had already witnessed Lu Shu creating Hai Long's crown, and watched the entire process without missing a beat. After a while, Luo Shui couldn't help but show a shocked expression and murmured to himself. I didn't expect that this guy's blacksmithing skills could be so powerful. Not only did he create 2 artifacts in succession, but the grade of the latter artifact also seemed to be very high. Hai Long's crown should be a spiritual artifact, and it cannot be forged by ordinary divine blacksmiths. He is obviously just a person from the gray world, so why can he master such exquisite forging skills? Could it be that he has discovered some opportunity in this world? At this moment, Luo Shui couldn't help but show a suspicious expression. After all, Lu Shu's talent in the fields of blacksmithing and technology is too powerful. When an ability appears, he may be able to use the power of God to let's explain it with abilities like trees. However, the emergence of 2 such top abilities, and this level of forging, let alone placed in the gray world, even for the current Luo Shui, it is not possible. What a small temptation. It is already comparable to the inheritance of the top forging gods in the divine domain. Not to mention Luo Shui, even the higher level gods of the Jushin sect would feel extremely valued if they saw such forging techniques. Luo Shui's eyes had begun to show thoughts. Her original idea was to let Lu Shu successfully become her disciple, but if the other party already has such a powerful ability, I'm afraid this matter is not as good as she imagined. Good luck. For Luo Shui. Looking down from the perspective of a god, all the sacred tree masters are like crazy, vying to worship Luo Shui. Shui's sect. So, of course, she took it for granted that as long as she was willing to accept a sacred tree master, the other party would have absolutely no reason to refuse. But what if it was Lu Shu? Such a powerful technology, such a powerful forging technique, even Luo Shui coveted this, and could not impart such good things to the other party. What would Lu Shu think? At this moment, Luo Shui's thoughts changed slightly. Her eyes froze slightly, and she said, if such geniuses cannot be used by our Jushin sect, they will be sent to the lower realm. I hope this guy doesn't know what's good, and he will obediently join the Jushin section. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude and attacking a mortal. No. He is no longer a mortal. He can create artifacts and can be regarded as an equal god. By then, I hope this guy can understand things better. After Lu Shu finished building Hai Long's crown, he continued to open the system's information panel and planned to go to the next location. But, before that, there are still very important things that have not been completed. That is to explore the Skigo cliff. I sensed a strong aura that drew me there. That is the aura related to enlightenment. Divine enlightenment? It's interesting. Lu Shu rushed directly towards the aura from Gigo cliff. Soon, in front of him, a huge cliff appeared. It's filled with the aura of the gods. Luo Shui saw where Lu Shu appeared through the crystal, and showed a surprised expression. He was actually able to find Wuodao Cliff. This is the inheritance place of Jushin sect. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 772. Chapter 772, Getting Started Directly in One Day. Luo Shui was quite surprised. Because Wuodao Cliff will not be recorded in the information database of the Ruins Guard. Luo Shui was really surprised that Lu Shu could find the location of Wuodao Cliff so quickly. Only outstanding people with a strong understanding of the Tao, or extremely talented geniuses in this regard, can find the breadth of the Tao and find the location of the Cliff of Enlightenment. Lu Shu has already shown extremely top attainments and talents in blacksmithing and science fiction. Could it be said that, even the enlightenment of the Jushin sect has such a terrifying talent for the 170 side? This idea may even seem a bit unbelievable to Luo Shui. She couldn't help but take a deep breath and secretly said, Fortunately, I came to the lower world and realized that this place is so hidden and has so many terrifying geniuses. First, there was a guy who was suspected to be the chosen one and got the key to the mirage. Immediately afterwards, another mortal appeared, but he was able to create artifacts, understand the technology of the kingdom of God, and find the path to the Dao at the Cliff of Enlightenment. However, it is actually a bit too early to make a judgment so early. The Wuodao Cliff contains the inheritance of my Jushin section. If you are not a Taoist genius, it will be difficult to gain insights, let alone practice the inner methods. Let's wait and see whether this guy can get started before making any plans. Luo Shui secretly said in his heart. At this time, Lu Shu had already crossed the cliff of Gigo Cliff, following the breath of the wind, all the way down. Here is an altar. It is a completely closed place. Only sunlight can pour down through the mouth of the great abyss at the top, imprinting the surrounding murals like a gilded glow, illuminating the patterns on it. Lu Shu immediately turned his attention to the surrounding murals, very quickly. He immediately recognized that these murals were actually the gods' cultivation methods. There are many things in it that are similar to the 3 purities Kung Fu and the like. It is a technique that is enough to cultivate to the realm of true immortals. If I guessed correctly, this skill should correspond to the inherited skill of the Jushin sect where Luo Shui belongs, right? Although Lu Shu is in the lower realm, because of his wide knowledge, he has already had relationships with many beings in the divine realm. With his extraordinary eyes, he naturally saw the message on the mural at a glance. It's a pity, I have already practiced the taking sex techniques, and the Jushin sex techniques are a bit difficult to integrate into. If you practice too many techniques, it will inevitably become confusing and it will be difficult to reach a higher state. Wait, but since these 2 mental methods have similarities, can they be integrated into each other and create a new method? Lu Shu couldn't help but have this extremely bold idea emerge in his mind. If Luo Shui knew about this idea, I'm afraid he would be shocked. Not to mention Luo Shui, even the high-level gods in the divine domain, such as the 9 heavens goddess beings of this level, if they knew Lu Shu's thoughts, would think that this mortal does not know the heights of the world, and is no different from crazy. Although taking Kung Fu is similar to the skills of the Jushin goddesses sect are indeed quite consistent at the level of mental skills. But it is extremely difficult to fuse the skills between the 2. Even the ancestors and the god kings dare not do it casually. It's not just a question of whether you have this ability, but if you combine two different techniques, it will definitely violate the rules of the divine realm, resulting in the practice of techniques that are neither fish nor fowl, making it difficult to use them in the divine realm. Find the category it belongs to. Therefore, all the gods have a basic consensus, that is, they will not fuse the mental methods of other schools casually. But Lu Shu obviously had no such concerns. He is not from the god realm. If he has this understanding and ability, he can integrate the techniques of two different schools. For him, the natural improvement will be great. Of course I did it directly. The next second, Lu Shu sat cross-legged on the enlightenment cliff and began to understand. At the same time, Luo Shui also looked at Lu Shu with interest. I don't know what level this guy can reach. She had vague expectations for Lu Shu in her heart, and had a hunch that the other party would bring her unexpected surprises. After all, being able to come to the cliff of enlightenment and having such attainments in blacksmithing and 5.0 technology, then the understanding of the realm of Tao enlightenment should not be much worse, right? Of course, enlightenment also takes time. Although the murals on Wuodao Cliff record the skills of the Jushin sect, it is still not that simple to get started. Mou waited for a day to pass. Lu Shu sat cross-legged on the same spot, still without any change. At this time, Luo Shui breathed out easily. Fortunately, this mortal's qualifications are not as exaggerated as imagined. It doesn't take a day to get started. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 773. Chapter 773 is too exaggerated. If you can get started in one day, your qualifications are simply too exaggerated. However, in Luo Shui's eyes, this was actually not bad. It took her about 7 days to get started. In the Jushin sect, his qualifications are probably around average. But it has not yet reached the upper level. Although, the Jushin sect's techniques are not that easy to get started with. But if you are just getting started, the difficulty is not that high compared to Mahayana. After all, it's just an introduction. Historically, there were many geniuses in the Jushin sect who were able to penetrate the mind of the disciples within 3 days. The most powerful genius completed the entry in 1 day. Later, this genius became the goddess of the Jushin sect, the goddess of the 9 heavens. It was also the master who took in Luo Shui. Since Lu Shu could not succeed in understanding the situation in 1 day, Luo Shui would be a little relieved. Otherwise, if a monster of this level is allowed to return to the Jushin sect, even the master may not be able to accommodate it. Even if it can be accommodated, it will not be Luo Shui's turn to teach this way, but it will be snatched away by himself. Originally, Luo Shui was a simple-minded girl, but since she came to the world of the sacred tree and learned about the disputes among the sacred tree masters, it was an eye-opener. See what is called human heart. So, the Luo Shui of today is different from the Luo Shui of the past. He will no longer be the same as before. He is completely a silly boy who only knows how to follow his mission. Instead, you will think about your position, think about the pros and cons, and then think about how you can truly fully accumulate the resources on hand to truly improve yourself. The east side of the ruins. Xian Monk and others were passing by this place. At this moment, the white-haired boy looked towards the sky. He suddenly discovered that on the east side of the ruins, there seemed to be a divine light rising directly into the sky. Yes, that was actually the light that burst out when Lu Shu created the artifact. Before, this light also appeared in the ruins, but before others could rush over, Lu Shu had already left. The latecomers naturally missed everything and found nothing. But what was unexpected was, this dazzling light curtain actually appeared again. And, it is more dazzling than ever before. This vision immediately attracted the attention of Xian Monk and others. The white-haired boy's eyes lit up and said, "Look, look, that light contains terrifying energy. Does it mean that some treasure has been born nearby?" The blue-haired girl said. He frowned. "But, aren't we looking for the ruin guard? This light, shouldn't we explore it?" The white-haired boy rolled his eyes and said, "Your layout is too small, isn't it? Let's look for it. What is the goal of the ruins guard? It is not to find nearby treasures, but since there are exotic treasures in this ruins, and the light in them is not worse than that of the ruins guards, then do you want to go there? Silly goose. You." The blue-haired girl felt angry when she heard that the other party was hurting her again, and said coldly, "Humph, after you pass by, you will find a big trouble lying across the front of the treasure. I hope this big trouble can be solved with some help. Please solve it directly. Don't beep here all the time, annoying this girl to death. I suggest that we continue looking for the ruins guards. Why would we go to a place like that? Everyone is too lazy to pay attention to these two people. They have been arguing for more than a day or two anyway, and no one will pay attention to the opinions raised when they are angry. Those are just a bunch of angry words. Whoever listens to it will be serious. They are fools. Let these two silly children go and make trouble on their own." Xian Monk's eyes moved slightly and said, "Since a strange treasure has been born, and according to what I have seen, this place is relatively close to the East China Sea ruins. We happened to rush over from the west side of the ruins, and this place may also be the place where the ruins guards passed by." 703. In my opinion, we should go in directly, not only to look for the ruins guards, but also to see if there are any treasures inside, which may bring us a different turn. Agree. Agree. I have to say that Xian Monk's right to speak is still very important. As long as he says so, other people in the team will rarely raise objections. After all, many people can still survive now. In fact, it is not the same as Xian Monk. The monk's ability has a lot to do with it. It is precisely because of this that Xian Monk can gain everyone's trust. If you don't hug the big boss tightly and are abandoned, he will be like grass and may die very quickly. Okay, in that case, let's go there together. Don't send messages or forums yet, let's find out what's ahead and then make a decision. In the current ruins, the opponent may not only be the monsters in the ruins, but also the sacred tree masters. Xian Monk said in a deep voice. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 774. Chapter 774, It might even cause trouble. What Xian Monk said actually makes sense, after all. Since the ruins guard may have been sent by the goddess to help players overcome the hidden boss in this instance, many sacred tree masters have begun to look for this boss. This is normal. Anyone who sees a good thing will subconsciously think that it belongs to them, and they will less consider whether they are qualified to get it. What's more, it is speculated that the ruin guard that can kill Heilong is probably a prop sent by the goddess, specially prepared for the sacred tree master. There will be more people who want to find the ruin guard. Where there are divine tree masters, there are rivers and lakes. Wherever there are rivers and lakes, there are disputes. Countless deeds in the Grey World prove that as long as the sacred tree masters begin to fight against each other, overt and covered fights and various conspiracies and tricks are absolutely inevitable. Xian Monk and others, as the largest action team in this ruins, will naturally be targeted by many people. At this stage, the problem they have to face is not only finding the ruins guards, but also being wary of other sacred tree masters. Let's move forward now. Go to the direction corresponding to the Baoguang pair. Don't upload this matter anywhere, because it will expose our whereabouts and be targeted by other sacred tree masters. Do you understand? Xian Seng said in a solemn tone. Especially when he said this, his eyes subconsciously looked at the war reporters paddling in the water. Ahem, we know, we will definitely pay attention to this matter. The war reporters smiled awkwardly. They also knew that this matter was not trivial and could not be disclosed casually. They could only secretly say it was a pity. Originally, they had prepared several materials and planned to post them to the forum to harvest another wave of traffic. But now it seems that if you want to go to that place, this information is confidential and cannot be leaked out casually. Otherwise, you may die. Although war reporters love reporting, they can still distinguish right from wrong, and what is more important, you can carry it clearly. From then on, Xian Monk's team began to rush towards the ruins. Moreover, they did not alert anyone else during this operation. Only Xian Monk, the white-haired boy, the blue-haired boy and others 10 people moved forward in the direction of the ruins. At the same time, although Xian Monk and others did not release any information related to Wuodao Cliff, but many divine tree masters had noticed that a divine light suddenly lit up in the direction of Wuodao Cliff. They immediately took a screenshot of this picture and sent it to the world's public screens and forums. There is no way, after all, not everyone has the same good tactics as Xian Monk literacy. As soon as it was sent, people all over the world knew that there was such a place in the ruins, and there might be treasures. Of course, the attention was instantly captured. Now, everyone in the entire Divine Tree world is discussing this matter. This boss actually discovered that there was a divine light coming out of the ruins. Looking at this location, the terrain is very dangerous. I wonder if there are any warriors out there who would be willing to go and investigate to see if there is anything good. This light gave me a very shocking feeling. There must be some huge treasure hidden in it. I feel like this is a great time to go explore. Oh, how you said that. The logic and reason of the analysis are also very simple. Now that there are many sacred tree masters who are tracking down the ruins guards, Wuxia has no worries about the divine light. The sooner you get there, the more likely you are to get the treasure as soon as possible. If it drags on, when more sacred tree masters come, not only will they have to face the monsters in the ruins, it is very likely that we will also face threats and pressure from other sacred tree masters. Naturally, the sooner we capture this treasure, the easier it will be to win this ruins. After saying this, the other sacred tree masters also reacted and felt quite recognized. Nowadays, many sacred tree masters are tracing the whereabouts of the ruins guards. Doesn't it mean that the sooner you go to this place where the precious light shines, the easier it will be to get the items you want? My dear fellow, what you say makes sense. Remain. That's right. If the treasure can be obtained, the strength will definitely undergo an unimaginable qualitative change, Wang Zhaozhao. At that time, if we come back to find the ruins guards, wouldn't it be more effective with half the effort? Upstairs, your analysis makes sense. Look for the divine light treasure first and then the ruins. This is extremely reasonable. But I have a question, can't we capture the ruins guard first and then find the location of the treasure? I am afraid you don't understand this. Since everyone can control the ruins guard, it means that if you get the ruins guard, it may not be completely yours, and it may be snatched away by others. The ruins guard is so conspicuous, but it may still be a prop that cannot be put away. Your position will be discovered by others from the first-person perspective. At that time, it may cause trouble. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 775. Chapter 775 is very reasonable. After hearing this dear friend's analysis, other sacred tree masters here also felt that it was very reasonable. The ruins guard is a machine that everyone can control, but not necessarily once you get it, it belongs to the divine tree master. After all, this may just be a prop in the copy, and you may not be able to obtain the right to use it. Because, this ruins guard is not necessarily an ownerless thing. If the Divine Tree Master wants to completely occupy the right to use an item, the best way is to imprint it on the treasure with a spiritual imprint. Then, it can be recycled into the system at any time. In this way, even if other Sacred Tree Masters kill this Sacred Tree Master, they will not be able to pull out the items in the system from the opponent's dead body. Therefore, there are very few cases of murder and treasure grabbing among the Sacred Tree Masters. Because, if you kill someone, the treasure may not be yours. If the Shen 307 Tree Master wants to completely take over the Ruins Guard as his own, he must leave his own spiritual imprint on it. However, all treasures have one thing in common. There can only be one spiritual imprint. There can't be two kinds, otherwise two people would own this item at the same time. Of course that is not true. Therefore, if other Sacred Tree Masters want to completely take possession of the treasure, they must erase the original spiritual imprint and then add a new one. But who was the original owner of the Ruin Guard? That is a goddess. Not to mention whether your mental power can reach this level, even if it is wiped out for you, would you dare? Other Sacred Tree Masters also caught this keen question. Since the movements of this Ruin Guard have been captured so many times in the ruins, then, it is very possible that the Ruin Guard actually has an owner, through the goddess. Take control and kill everyone. Even if the Sacred Tree Master obtains the Ruins Guard, he may not be able to include it in the system. What belongs to the goddess still belongs to the goddess. The price-performance ratio is not very high if captured, and there is also the risk of being hunted and followed by other Sacred Tree Masters. Not a good deal at all. On the contrary, this mysterious light, although I don't know what kind of treasure it is, it looks very high-end. Maybe it's a prop that can directly improve your strength. Or, is it an item like the ancient powerful technique? After practicing, can you become very strong? If it were this type of prop, it would be much easier to use than the Ruin Guard. No matter how powerful the Ruins Guard is, after all, it is just a foreign object, and once it is damaged, it cannot be repaired without the corresponding technological level. And if it is other props, even weapons such as magic weapons, they can be a real increase in the strength of the Sacred Tree Master. Compared with the increase of a Ruin Guard, it is naturally much larger. After learning the news, many Sacred Tree Masters are actually not stupid. They know how to weigh the pros and cons. After knowing where the Divine Light was, he immediately gave up his original action and quickly explored towards the place of the light. How could they not know what the guards of the ruins, CFFJ, are? Not to mention, not even the shadow of the Ruins Guard has been found, and there are endless risks in dealing with this guy. It's better to settle for the next best thing and choose the direction in which the Divine Light shines. Maybe you can get something better. Now, many Divine Tree Masters rushed towards the direction of the Divine Light. But what they may not have expected is that when many people have the same idea, the difficulty will naturally become different. Now, Lu Shu was sitting cross-legged on the cliff of enlightenment. In his mind, he was constantly conceiving all kinds of ideas. How can we integrate the two different methods? Deduction. Use unlimited deduction fruits. Continuously deduce. Zhang Chen closed his eyes and was thinking of various plans in his mind. Each plan had a preliminary prototype in his mind, but was quickly rejected. Although the calculation ability of the infinite deduction fruit is extremely powerful, it is still too difficult to calculate for such techniques that exceed his realm and his own scope. Fortunately, Lu Shu had already practiced the corresponding skills, and now he was blessed with many artifacts. In terms of personality, he could barely count. It just takes a lot of time. During this period, Lu Shu had no idea that the outside world had undergone earth-shaking changes. Many Sacred Tree Masters were rushing in this direction. Of course, even if he knew, Lu Shu had an indifferent attitude. At this moment, Lu Shu suddenly had an idea in his mind. Correct. All avenues lead to the ultimate road. As long as we find that path and then restore it step by step, wouldn't we be able to find out the essential method of cultivation? This idea is extremely bold. In the words of the gods, wishful thinking. It is impossible for others. But what Lu Shu has is the infinite deduction fruit. He has all possibilities. For others say, it is impossible, but it is different for Lu Shu. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 776. Chapter 776 Failure is the mother of success. Give it a try. Lu Shu's eyes lit up. Based on his deduction, he had a vague feeling that this direction may be effective. Even if he cannot succeed in one step, but he can still accumulate experience for the future. As the saying goes, failure is the mother of success. Still afraid of failure? What's the point of talking about success? The next second, Lu Shu began to run the infinite deduction fruit. In his mind, the essence of the two techniques continued to emerge. Then, after images continued to emerge in his mind, heading towards the ultimate end. Time seemed to pass by so unconsciously. Suddenly, a divine light rose into the sky. It seemed to carry endless Taoist charm. This change suddenly shocked Luo Shui. She was so shocked that she jumped up from her seat instantly. She no longer used the crystal ball to observe the situation of the ruins, but teleported directly to the direction of Lu Shu. Because Luo Shui sensed an ultimate avenue, and unexpectedly born from Zhang Chen's body. At this moment, the other divine tree masters also arrived at the place where the Wuodao cliff was. Suddenly, they saw a shocking light right in front of them, like the sun, in front of them. The entire enlightenment cliff lit up. All the divine tree masters were immediately shocked. They immediately realized that there must be some incredible treasure appearing inside. Logically speaking, after the treasure was born, other divine tree masters should conceal all this information and don't tell others casually. Otherwise, the more this news spreads, the more people come to compete, and the situation will be even more unfavorable. But some war reporters seem to have the same idea as normal people. The idea is incompatible. No matter what the situation is, it must be recorded first and posted on the forum and the world's public screens. It seems that after publishing this information, they are also as awesome as this information. Now, the entire divine tree world is paying attention to the forum. And some tidbits about the ruins. At this moment, another post appeared, occupying the first place in the hot search. Shock. A strange light reappears deep in the ruins. When this news was released, there was no need for redundant rendering, and many sacred tree masters immediately clicked on it. Snap, very fast. Anyway, as long as it's information related to the ruins, people who click on it now can get as many as they want. There is no shortage of this traffic at all. Now, the sacred tree masters came to the forum one after another, clicked on this post and took a look. As expected, a dazzling light shone deep into the ruins, as bright as a star. Even the brightest starry sky on the sacred tree island cannot compare with this dazzling light. Just like ants competing with the bright moon. At this moment, a group of sacred tree masters immediately started discussing enthusiastically on the world's public screen. Oh my God, look at this post, there is such a heaven-defying light appearing from the enlightenment cliff. Another bright light. Is this treasure so awesome? It can also light up twice in a row. Do you understand? There may even be 2 treasures appearing in this valley at the same time. Damn it, there are 2 treasures, wouldn't it be easier to get one of them? Even among sacred tree masters, if they want to compete with others, they can also divide their divisions. You grab this one, and I grab the other one. Damn it, isn't it better than a bunch of people trying to grab the ruins guard? Moreover, if you can get one treasure in advance, you might be able to snatch the second treasure along the way. The benefits are not proportional, okay? When you say that, I want to grab this treasure. Yes, since there are such good places, who would be interested in ruins guarding? That thing is so difficult. If it is hit by artillery fire, wouldn't it be fatal in an instant? Maybe the treasure in the Enlightenment Cliff will be easier to obtain. The Sacred Tree Masters all already have a common understanding. Of course, to get the treasure from Wuodeo Cliff. The Ruins Guard was originally a favorite among everyone, but now no one is willing to get it. When the other Sacred Tree Masters saw this, they quickly exclaimed. They didn't even see the shadow of the Ruins Guard. As a result, another treasure location was discovered by someone else first. Moreover, this treasure location contains 2 treasures. Then if we continue to pursue the Ruins Guards, wouldn't we lose a lot of money? No, no. I want to fight for this treasure too. The other Sacred Tree Masters have all experienced resource disputes in the Grey World. It can be said that their eyes will light up when they see treasures. Basically, has a natural sense of smell for treasures. At this moment, they had all given up their original strategy and started chasing towards the Wuodeo Cliff together at an unimaginable speed. Some of the Sacred Tree Masters who had already rushed to Wuodeo Cliff were overjoyed when they saw that they had such a good opportunity. But then, a piece of nightmarish news came. This piece of information was actually released out of the factory. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 777. Chapter 777 is so mysterious. When they learned that the information was released, their hearts almost collapsed. Because, I clearly have such an excellent opportunity, it is simply the right time, right place, and right people. There is no reason to give this opportunity to others. Therefore, all the Sacred Tree Masters here hope that this news will not be leaked. But these war reporters seem determined to confront them. This Baoguang has just appeared in this world, and it has made a big fuss all over the world. Of course I feel extremely unhappy. Although they can't guarantee that they can get these precious 910s 100%. However, there is always a 1% chance, right? But now, all the Sacred Tree Masters have been summoned. How low does the probability drop? 1000th. In this case, the hope is extremely slim. Some Sacred Tree Masters even found out the war reporter directly through the location of the video in a fit of rage. Then, made what a cruel choice. He actually killed the war reporter. After doing all this, I even posted a special post. Stop sending me these random posts. Someone will let me see these posts again. When this post was published, it immediately received a lot of clicks. There is also a memory video inside. It was the scene when the war reporter was shot to death. When this post was published. However, it did not have the expected effect. There were a lot of accusations and curses under the post. It was as if the person who was killed was not a war reporter, but their own mother. Damn it, this person can't afford it. It's none of your business if someone posts other people's posts. He probably felt that the war correspondent's intelligence had called other competitors over, and he was completely anxious, so he had murderous intentions. No way, the other Sacred Tree Masters will be killed by you just for reporting the situation here. What the hell kind of logic is this? With such a useless mentality, I guess even if there is only one competitor, he will not be able to obtain the treasure. That's right, a useless person who is afraid of competition and looks down on people's kindness is not worthy of the final victory. Haha, real masters think that they disdain to do this kind of behavior, and compete directly if they have the ability. Killing a weak tree master who has no intention of competing in the first place and only intends to report silently, what kind of hero is he? Almost all the curses below came from the film. Dense than the dark clouds. After all, the sacred tree masters who couldn't make it to the ruins this time could only wait in the forum to read the reports from frontline reporters. But if war reporters are really killed, who will record the latest fun news for them? Naturally, it caused public outrage. What's more, it has been the tradition of emperors since ancient times not to kill remonstrating officials. Every era needs recorders. And the person who killed the recorder was absolutely domineering and was intolerable to the world. No one with normal intelligence would approve of such behavior. Of course, there was a lot of criticism. Seeing that his post actually attracted so many trolls. The tree master was also angered and sneered, "What? I'm stronger than him, why don't I just kill him?" He reported his, "I killed mine, what does it care about you? You bunch of bastards who don't dare to come to the ruins can only scream in the sacred tree island. If you come to this ruins, I will crush you all to ashes." It can be seen that this sacred tree master is really anxious. He actually started to quarrel with the scholars, and he looked like everyone in the world was drunk and I was sober. At this moment, a message from a sacred tree master appeared below. S reply. "Well, you should be called Gaotian, right? Don't let me see you in the world of the sacred tree. As long as you come out of this ruins, I will hunt you down. If you have the ability, you can hide in the sacred tree island for the rest of your life." After this post was published, it was extraordinary that it received an extremely large number of likes. All of them were supportive. "Sister Yu is actually going to take action, ha ha ha, that person is probably dead." It turns out that his name is Gao Tian Tian, and he is indeed a bit unruly. I can still get some information here. When the time comes, kill him and add me. Me too. These replies attracted the attention of other sacred tree masters one after another. 1.6 Someone was attracted by the popularity and asked curiously, "Who is this Sister Yu, and why does she know Gao Tian's name?" And according to her, she actually knows Gao Tian's location. In the reply, someone smiled mysteriously and replied, "You don't know this. Sister Yu has the ability of magical calculations. She can know part of the information about the sacred tree master. Her intelligence ability is extraordinary." Is it really that magical? Many sacred tree masters are extremely surprised by this. What kind of method can they directly know the personal information of a sacred tree master across thousands of miles? It's so mysterious. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 778. Chapter 778, TNG Pavilion's Unique Method. Haha, you probably don't understand this. This is a unique method of TNG Pavilion. It is certainly not difficult to find information about these sacred tree masters. However, based on the principle of peace and respect, we will not steal other people's privacy if nothing happens. But this person killed a war reporter and tried to affect the harmony and tranquility of the sacred tree world. Then I'm sorry, TNG Pavilion will also come out to take care of it. A sacred tree master with the ID name Shenhe Wangzhen spoke on the world's public screen. As soon as these words came out, the sacred tree masters present could not help but feel greatly shocked. There is such a method. Can you directly find information about other sacred tree masters? These methods are too terrible, right? Many divine tree masters felt inexplicable awe at this. No one wants their 25-year-old privacy to be leaked out like this. However, TNG Pavilion has such special means. It seems that it does not require the use of any intelligence network. It can obtain the information of other sacred tree masters just by relying on its own ability. Personal information? Isn't this too scary? However, some of the sacred tree masters questioned, "Wait a minute, but we don't know the ID of this sacred tree master. Is it Gao Tian? Isn't it a little bit so rash to judge that TNG Pavilion's intelligence network is correct? Is it too early?" At this time, everyone also came to their senses. Maybe, in fact, TNG Pavilion didn't predict correctly, but just blindly reported a piece of information to the public screen. Maybe he's just trying to fool people? But at this moment, the Divine Tree Master with the ID Shenhe Wangzhen posted a post on the world's public screen. It was a screenshot of Gao Tian's private message to apologize. Gao Tian brother, let's discuss something carefully. It's not good for you to leak my information like this. Gao Tian besides, we have no enmity, so why are you targeting me like this? Gao Tian, how about we make peace with each other like this? When the information about these screenshots was published, everyone was shocked. Is he really Gao Tian? Moreover, through the private message panel, the Divine Tree Master can open the other party's personal interface. You can see his current state and appearance. It is exactly the same person as the memory video on the world's public screen. At this time, everyone believed that this person was really unruly. Damn it, TNG Pavilion's ability is actually real. Is it really possible to calculate TNG like this? In fact, it is still possible. The mysterious master of Muyu Pavilion, Muyu Tingfeng, had such an ability. This Tianjizi has such miraculous abilities. Why didn't he create TNG Pavilion earlier? Why take advantage of it now? This is a normal thing. Not all sacred tree masters are as awesome as Muyu Tingfeng. They can get top-notch fruits right from the start. Some sacred tree fruits are born with heaven-defying abilities. It may take until the sacred tree grows to the later stage. In other words, it is possible that this Tianji's ability is similar to that of Pavilion Master Mu, but he does not possess it at the beginning, but awakens it later, and then uses his intelligence ability to build TNG Pavilion. Yes, I guess that's what it looks like. At this moment, after some discussion, the Sacred Tree Masters roughly guessed what TNG Pavilion is. First of all, this Tianji's ability should be similar to that of Muyu Tingfeng, and he is full of intelligence. Secondly, TNG Pavilion can only be said to be a rising star, but their guild is indeed short of people, so they took advantage of this opportunity and immediately came out to show off. Not only did they package their guild as extremely mysterious, but they also had a sense of fighting for the righteousness. The look of devotion. By attacking a small character who is scolded by everyone in the Divine Tree world, and then creating momentum for his guild. Anyone with a good eye can basically see what is going on. But I have to say that this method is indeed useful, and many people who don't know why will fall into this trap. 717 After all, the first image is still very important. If TNG Pavilion wants to develop, of course it needs to recruit some new people. Those veterans are naturally not their first priority. First of all, since TNG Pavilion can have so many connections and start to agitate for this incident, it means that their guild has been developing in secret for some time and has recruited core personnel. Such a guild will not be particularly short of experts if it has core members. If it recruits more experts and has more core members, wouldn't it mean that the profits of their guild will be divided? Therefore, TNG Pavilion wants workers, not a master. Secondly, if you recruit strong people, it will definitely require a lot of resources. TNG Pavilion is now in the early to mid stage of development, and there are not so many resources to support big bosses. If you want to cooperate with more big guys, that will happen later. So, that's why the scene happened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 779. Chapter 779, It shouldn't be difficult at this moment. Lu Shu was sitting cross-legged in the center of Enlightenment Cliff. The technique he had constructed in his mind had been completely formed. The next second, with a slight movement of Lu Shu's thoughts, the avenue that originally belonged to taking Kung Fu suddenly caused various Dao patterns to surge on the Wuodao cliff. The mysterious aura turned into runes all over the sky, evoking the Taoist rhyme. Every Dao rhyme seems so natural, as if it leads directly to the origin of the Dao. Now, Luo Shui turned into a stream of light and came directly above the Wuodao cliff. When she sensed this Taoist charm, she felt extremely shocked. This is not only the avenue of taking, but also integrated with the avenue of Jushin sect. How can it be? This kind of Taoist rhyme is simply impossible for a mortal to possess. The understanding of Tao is actually deeper than my understanding. Luo Shui's pupils shrank and she murmured to herself in a low voice. The way she looked at Lu Shu was no different from looking at a monster. The Tao Yun around her had reached the point of being completely natural, even if it was a high-ranking god in the divine domain, may not be able to reach this level. What about Luo Shui? He is just a second-level true god. Only when he reaches the level of fourth-level true god can he be called a medium god. High-level gods must reach at least the level of seventh-level true god or above. Qualification. By how many levels has Lu Shu's Tao understanding surpassed that of Luo Shui? Accept him as his disciple? With his own qualifications, does he really have this qualification? At this moment, Luo Shui was shocked and doubtful, but even more his mind was filled with questions. Under what circumstances could this mortal be able to understand the two ultimate avenues and integrate them perfectly? The first possibility is that Lu Shu is actually not possible at all. A mortal may be a god king from the lower realm, traveling in this mortal world, and happen to come to the secret realm of Luo Shui. The second possibility is that Lu Shu is a genius that is rare to encounter throughout the ages, and he has found it before the opportunity of taking avenue was able to arouse the enlightenment of Tao in Wuodao Cliff, and then after observing the exercises in the murals, they merged with taking avenue to open up another road to the perfect avenue. No matter what it is, the possibilities are not trivial. The former, Luo Shui can't afford to offend him at all. The latter, Luo Shui is not qualified to accept him as a disciple. Even if he can stay in the upper world, he will be respected by the nine heavens goddess. After all, in the god's domain, if we want to talk about qualifications and seniority, the realm of enlightenment of the Tao is the foundation. The realm of gods can be easily piled up as long as the resources are sufficient. But only the enlightenment of the Tao is endless and requires extremely strong talent. If gods with average qualifications can spend their entire lives unable to comprehend the ultimate perfection of the Tao, those who can reach this level are fully qualified to be crowned God King, and can rule a party in the god's domain, on an equal footing with high-ranking gods such as the Nine Heavens Goddess. She is a second-level true god. Are you qualified to accept such a genius as a disciple? This is completely wishful thinking. Moreover, the attitude of God's realm towards mortals has always been relatively conservative. After all, these mortals are not born and raised in God's realm, and they may not have a sense of belonging to God's realm. To put it bluntly, they are outsiders. But if outsiders master the power that can subvert the divine realm, they may pose a threat to the divine realm. Tens of thousands of years ago, a certain bird came from the mortal world. The monkey that jumped out of the tree has proven this. Therefore, Luo Shui's attitude towards Lu Shu is to be more cautious. Otherwise, even if Lu Shu is brought back, this mortal will not be able to point her out. With some guidance, a higher-ranking god will naturally take over. Then, the series of plans Luo Shui constructed before will be completely ruined. At this moment, Luo Shui's heart can be said to be suffering from a huge sense of gap. Originally, she also thought that if she wanted to accept a mortal as her apprentice, wouldn't that be something simple and easy that could be accomplished with just one thought? But in fact, she was wrong. And she was so wrong. Such qualifications, even if a mortal is brought back to the upper world, it will definitely attract the attention of other gods. Furthermore, Lu Shu's understanding of Tao has already surpassed Luo Shui's. If he returned to the upper world and ranked according to seniority, Luo Shui would call Lu Shu his senior. How can I accept disciple Yuan? A hint of murderous intent flashed in Luo Shui's eyes, but it quickly subsided, Qian's, and said secretly. This mortal holds a huge secret. Even if he is not brought back to the upper realm, he must first find out where his secrets come from. For example, the technology that can analyze the ruins of the kingdom of God, and the taking method. What's even more incredible is that this mortal can perfectly integrate the techniques of taking and Jushin sects. This is definitely not something that a simple mortal can do. We must find out his secret. By the way, if you can successfully recruit a disciple, it shouldn't be difficult to ask him to reveal all the secrets in the name of Master. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 780. Chapter 780, Accepting the Godhead. Soon, a new idea appeared in Luo Shui's mind. Suppose that Lu Shu is actually the second possibility, that is, he is actually just a mortal, but he got an extraordinary opportunity in the lower world. That's why you can have such a transcendent understanding of the Tao, and even integrate the techniques of the Jushin school and the Taking school to create a new ultimate Tao. So, Lu Shu has a huge opportunity, but as a mortal, his intelligence is limited after all. You may not know that you have so many benefits. It can even attract the attention of gods. That's why I came to participate in my apprenticeship conference. From this point of view, maybe we can take advantage of the intelligence gap that the other party doesn't know about and successfully recruit a disciple. Then use the name of the master to let this apprentice tell all the secrets about him. After all, he is a god. From the perspective of a god, what does the mere chance of a mortal mean? It's just master's order. As a mortal disciple, you should not have any choice to disobey your master. When the time comes, Luo Shui will look at the situation and take these secrets into his own hands. Then, it depends on the situation. Don't look at killing Lu Shu. If a genius with this kind of qualification reaches God's realm in the future, his upper limit will be many times higher than his own. If one day, he discovers these things, and then turns around and causes trouble for himself, that will also be very dangerous. So, the most conservative approach is actually to get the secret from Lu Shu, and then deal with the other party in the name of God. This is the safest option. Buzz. At this moment, the endless Taoist rhyme surrounded Lu Shu. The figure that sets off his Psi looks like a real god descending to earth. Luo Shui stared at the treasure in front of him, with complicated expressions in his eyes. Even her, a true god, would feel jealous of the other party's state of understanding of the Tao. That was the enlightenment of Tao that Luo Shui dreamed of. It was a talent that she knew she would never be able to achieve in her lifetime. However, these things actually appeared one by one in a mortal, even a mortal she wanted to take on as her disciple. Want to keep your mind as calm as still water? With Luo Shui's Taoism, it wouldn't be too far off. So, it's decided. There was a chill in Luo Shui's eyes. She had already made a choice in her heart. The next second, Luo Shui's figure came slightly closer. She wanted to feel more carefully, this road leading to the ultimate, what level can this fusion of Jushin and Taking, 2 different factions of martial arts achieve? But as soon as Luo Shui's figure approached, the terrifying Tao aura immediately bounced her figure back. Luo Shui's figure instantly it flew upside down for a while, as if it was mounted on the mountain, and bounced out like a ball. At this moment, the eyes of this god were filled with shock. Look! How can it be? I can't even get close to this avenue. As long as you get a little closer, let alone enlightenment, you will be bounced back by the avenue. How could his Tao perception be so strong? At this moment, Luo Shui's heart was completely unbalanced. She never expected that even Zhang Chen's Dao aura could directly push her away. A god, at the level of Dao enlightenment, is not as good as a mortal. It's better to commit suicide. Luo Shui's eyes were full of shock and anger. It was hard to imagine that this thing could happen to him and a mortal. Doesn't that mean that as a god, he has understood after so many years of cultivating the Dao, is the result even different from that of a mortal? After so many years of cultivation, is it like learning from a dog? That's why Luo Shui appears so frightened and angry. The Dao shown by Lu Shu, this realization has completely overwhelmed the gods. This is even beyond Luo Shui's cognitive scope. In her mind, shouldn't the gods be superior? The so-called mortals should be at their own mercy. But now, the positions between the two were completely reversed. It was as if Lu Shu was the real superior. Boom! At this moment, a shocking sound suddenly exploded from the depths of Enlightenment Cliff. Lu Shu soars into the sky, and his whole body is condensed with endless Dao patterns, looking mysterious and unpredictable. The huge and domineering body of the ruins guard standing next to him cannot help but be covered by Lu Shu's light. At this moment, it's as if Lu Shu is the real god. And the ruins guards standing around him are like the attendants of the gods, never leaving, protecting him. Yes, now mine has almost reached the realm of true immortality. And I can now bear the divine power. Already considered a god. But the only pity is that he has not yet been certified as a god, and his skills have not completely broken through to the level of a true immortal. He can barely be regarded as a false god. Lu Shu estimated in his heart.